welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Phoenix. Welcome to another video. Dude, you better ditch that negative attitude. These guys are counting on you for a quality video. Why? It's cloudy and windy. I don't want to do anything. Why? I'll tell you why. Because you've got guys like Daniel here shouting you out on Instagram because they like the videos you're making. Daniel likes my video? Yes! He's probably not the only one too. There's probably a couple people at home right now waiting for you to post your next one. You really think so? Yes, I'm one of them. Now take off that hood, put on these green sunglasses, and make a decent intro. Okay. Okay, I will. Yeah, I'm gonna make a decent intro. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona, and welcome to another video. I'm not going to lie, my energy comes and goes with the weather, and this week has been kind of cloudy and a little bit windy in Phoenix. We haven't gotten rain, so I haven't got to take the Z out and whip around. So I've just been kind of sitting around, and I didn't really want to do anything until I got that shout out on Instagram from Daniel. So Daniel, I appreciate you big time. It's giving me motivation to install these coilovers today, so that's what we're gonna do. I have had these coilovers since Black Friday. So they've been sitting in the garage for quite a while. The only reason I haven't installed them yet is because there's a certain order of things I wanted to do to the car before I installed them. But obviously they are the Megan Racing Coilovers. The main reason I went with them was price. I thought they were a pretty good value. On Black Friday it was between these and some K Sports. These were quite a bit cheaper, even though K Sport is local. It would have been fun to work with them. But I also like the blue because it kind of goes with my blue and silver theme with the car. So real quick, the kit comes with some instructions, a couple specs and whatnot. We can talk about that in a bit if we need to. It also comes with the 2 spanner wrenches that you'll need to make adjustments on the coilovers. There's also some warranty information and a sticker for you hot boys. Now the coilovers themselves are relatively simple. This is one for the front. They're advertised as a 15-way adjustable dampening system, meaning 15 clicks, and you can go between super hard and super soft. But I'm getting like 17 clicks on the fronts and 16 clicks on the rears for some reason. 1, 2, 3, 15, 16, 17, maybe 18. 1, 2, 3, 18. 18 clicks on this front one. And then really quick, here's a rear. 1, 2, 3, 16, 17 on that rear. So how many clicks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop?
The world may never know.
One thing to check when you first install coilovers, you kind of want to check the preload. I personally like the spring to be able to rotate a little bit prior to putting it in the car. If it doesn't rotate at all on the coilover before putting it in the car, it's going to be even stiffer than probably advertised. These coilovers are 12K in the front and 6K in the rear, so that means how much pressure needs to be put on the coilover to get it compressed. So the higher the number, the harder it is to compress. So up front, they're going to be a little bit stiffer. That's fine for handling. Out back, we want it softer, in my opinion, for better traction, especially with the Eclipse, because we do have some rear wheel drive with the all-wheel drive there. It's getting even more windy and it looks like it's about to rain, so let's get into the garage and get these bad boys installed. You little beauty, you. Now when I clap my hands, you're gonna lift yourself up and take your wheels off. Everything's better and easier online. Before we get started, to make life a little easier, I'm gonna hit the bolts that are gonna be coming off today with a little WD-40. To get to the rear strut or coilover, you do have to pop these 2 interior pieces. It's just 2 Phillips screws on both sides. I'm not sure if we have to or not, but I'm gonna pop these rubber caps just so that they're out of our way. They just pull straight up. Now in an effort to try and make this video as entertaining as possible and not bore you with details, I'll kind of try and speed through the installation process, but I still want you guys to know the tools and the nuts and the bolts that you'll have to take off in order to do this. So let's go over that really quick, starting with the front. Okay, the tools you'll need to get the front strut or coilover out are a 14mm wrench, a 5mm Allen head. I would have a 14mm socket, and then 2 17mm sockets or wrenches or impact. Now, the order that I do this is not necessarily the right order to do it in. Remember guys, I'm not a mechanic, I'm a freaking realtor, so follow these instructions at your own risk. But here's how I would go about tackling the front coilovers or struts. Okay, to tackle the front strut or coilover, from now on I'm just gonna call it coilover. First thing I would do is disconnect the sway bar end link. It is a 14mm nut, and then you'll take your 5mm Allen, put it in the end of the bolt where there's that hole there. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm talking about, where that 5mm Allen head goes. Disconnect that. Then you're gonna come to the base of the coilover, 17mm bolt right here, pop that out, and then on the very bottom, There's a 17mm nut and a 17mm bolt on the opposite side. Go ahead and pop those out. Once you have all that out, come up top, pop your 3 14mm nuts up there, then you should be able to kind of wiggle the coilover out. The coilover will pop out of this wishbone thing, by the way. It would be very hard to get them both out together. Really quick, here are the two new fronts, and obviously the old one. Looks like they're about, I don't know, an inch shorter. I am gonna throw them in the way they came from Megan. I've checked the preload on both of them. I'm able to turn the spring. And that's how I like them personally. So I'm gonna put them in like this and we'll see where we're at when the dust settles. Also, I'm not sure if it's worth mentioning or not, but the Megan Racing Coilovers do come with their own set of new hardware or nuts for the top, so that's kind of nice. Real quick, check out these blues. Obviously getting the coilover in will be a lot easier than before because it's an inch shorter, so it doesn't take as much shimmying. Basically just put the wishbone on the bottom, drop in your 17mm bolt, tighten that up until this is tight. Then I use a jack to jack up the lower suspension, line it up so that the bolt can run through, I think it's the lower control arms. And then once the bolt is through, make sure you put the lock washer on that was there before with the nut. Sorry, I know that's blurry, and then tighten them down. I'll let you guys do your own research on torque settings. I found this post on DSM Talk. I'll put it right here. I'm going by those. You guys can do whatever you want. All right, I gotta come clean with you guys on something. The sway bar end links on this car are sent from Satan himself. I did get the one on the passenger side off. This one I just couldn't get. I stripped some stuff, so I ended up just cutting them out. I'm gonna have to get some new sway bar end links. I'm not gonna deal with it in this episode, but the car is going to get the fenders rolled tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. And I don't know what time it is, but it's getting late and I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna stop with just the front coilovers in. We'll get the fenders rolled in the morning, and then once the fenders are rolled, we'll finish up the install of the rear coilovers.
Early the next morning.
Okay, this is really hard to catch on camera, but here is the before my fenders get rolled, and then the back. And here is after fender rolling. Probably kind of tough to tell, but those bolts and the little tabs are gone. I'll have to do a little trimming on the inner fender liner. I'll show you the back here. You can see quite a bit of difference on the back where that seam used to be and then where it got rolled. Leo Fender Rolls on Instagram got the job for the fender rolling. He's a pretty popular name here in the area. He's got a couple videos out on YouTube. If you just search Leo Fender Rolls, it'll show up. If you're not in the mood to learn how to fender roll or you want to practice on your car and buy the equipment, definitely hit up Leo. I think he's totally worth the money. Real quick, one hot tip for you guys. Leo and I kind of ran into this issue when we were rolling the fenders. So this upper wishbone in the rear is going to get in the way when you mount the roller here. So me and Leo kind of contemplated it for a while, and then we're like, oh duh, we'll just jack up down here. So we'll save you guys maybe 20-30 minutes of trying to figure that out. Put your jack down here, jack the suspension up. That will get this wishbone or arm up here far enough out of the way for you to run your roller back and forth. Up front, you're good to go. Curl, it just won't stay out of my freaking face today. In the rear, to get the coilovers out, all you're gonna need is a 17mm and a 14mm socket. You'll use your 17mm socket to pop out this bolt right here at the base of the coilover, and then you got two 14mm nuts up top holding it in. On the rears, I'm gonna throw them in just the way they came. They look like they're about an inch shorter than stock right now, and they also come with hardware, just like the fronts. Never mind that peeling paint right there. How sweet does that look? For the torque settings on the bolts and the nuts in the rear, I use the same settings from the screenshot I showed earlier. Moment of truth, time to drop it, see what it looks like without any adjustment. It is still an absolute tractor. I'm gonna start making adjustments. See you guys in a bit. So I think I'm finally done adjusting the rears. They are at about 2.5 inches from the lower lock ring to the top of the bottom lock ring, in case you want to replicate how low my car is. And here's what the rear looks like on the ground with those settings. Now I just got to do the front. So the front coilovers went in with about a 3-inch gap in the middle here. So I'm gonna take that down to probably like 1.5 or 1. I'd like to take about 2 inches out of it. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you don't know how to adjust coilovers, maybe it's your first time, just loosen the bottom lock ring and then turn the top one, and that'll twist this section down into here, lowering the coilover. Front coilovers bottom out at 1.5 inches. That's where I'm gonna rock them. All right, here she is on the ground. I got some wood blocks under the tires, but these are bottomed out. They're not going any further. That is a tight fitment.
Tight like a tiger.
Gonna have to do some testing, make sure that doesn't rub, but I kind of trust Leo's judgment. The guy's pretty much the man to know around here. And the rears are fine. I've got a little bit of room left. I'll probably let those settle. I might drop them a little bit more. Looks like a freaking tornado hit this place. By the way, for the purists, I'm keeping the OEM ones just in case. I don't know what'll happen with this car someday. I'd like to keep it forever probably, but just in case, if it ever needs to be set back to OEM, it can be. First drive. Watch out for those bumps. I'm not gonna lie, my least favorite part of making videos is putting music and trying to edit the car to make it look cool. So, the camber on the car is way off in the back, so obviously we've got an alignment coming, possibly even some camber arms. There's a pretty solid view there. Blue, turquoise, red, we got all kinds of things happening. I think that will pretty much do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the install of the Megan Racing Coilovers. If you're curious how they ride, I haven't had a chance to really feel them out. They feel good though. They're a middle of the road option, so I don't really notice anything, you know, out of the ordinary so far. It's not like crazy stiff, it's not crazy soft. I do have them all set to their softest setting right now. But if anything changes on how I feel about the coilovers in the future, I'll definitely let you guys know. In any event, I appreciate you guys all so much for watching today's video. Stay tuned for more. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm sure there's gonna be somebody out there who says,
Jesse, I can't believe you rolled the fenders on that car.
I'll make a snappy today. It's such a good feeling. That's the shot right there. Shee. So I ended up just bottoming out the front coilovers. What's next on the Jesse Shield show? Probably not next, but coming.